So, 22 years.
Yeah.
22 years we have waited for this movie. I know I have. Well, maybe not 22, not 22 years, but that's how long it's been since Warcraft 1.
Mm-hmm.
About.
I mean, both of us, we were like 4 or 5 when that game came out.
I didn't play Warcraft 1.
No.
I
Actually, my brother's friend was had a PC that was good enough for Warcraft 1, and back in those days, you had to know you had to know how to build a computer to get to actually know how to get those old games working right. But I remember seeing Warcraft and a lot of FMV games from way back in the early mid '90s, and I remember liking it, just seeing these little sprites kind of move around on the screen.
Yeah.
But then again, like at that age, any kind of moving color is entertaining to a child.
Yeah, exactly. That's how I could watch video games so long. All that, and I didn't have any for myself. So,
but it wasn't until like Warcraft 3.
Yeah, Warcraft 3 was where I latched on.
Yeah.
Later on, I played like maybe a fourth of Warcraft 2.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just after being so well immersed into the world of 3.
You were about to say World of Warcraft, weren't you?
Actually, no, I really wasn't. Well, actually, in the world of Warcraft.
In the world of Warcraft.
Yeah. After I latched on with 3 pretty soon when it came out. I was on board I got World of Warcraft the very month that it came out. Me and John.
Mm-hmm.
Our friend.
Mutual
Our mutual friend John, him and I were both going through stuff, that age. Myself especially, that's when I really had my first nervous breakdown shit and just really went off the horse. Just dumped my entire life down the tubes. Everything I had been doing up to then. And because that's when all my just psychological bullshit started happening. So it just got heavily medicated, and then went on latched on to Warcraft. That's and I did that for 7 years. Basically, 7 years of my life was just completely removed. And you could argue that it like kept me sane enough to just keep on going and not doing like be suicidal or anything like that. But you could also argue that stuff like, and I'm speaking for anybody who was in the same place as me, you could also argue that it kept people like us away from doing drugs and stuff like that. That we could have tried to find something to latch on to.
But habits are only as healthy as as they affect the people around you.
Yeah.
And if your habit is keeping people away from you, by and large, it's not the healthiest of choices, I think.
Yeah.
I definitely believe. I did my time in WoW for about... I jumped on later than you and John. I jumped on around, 2005? Maybe 6? Yeah. That's about right. Right before Burning Crusade. About a good 6 months before Burning Crusade.
Which was a good time to be on it.
Oh, yeah. It was, classic primo WoW, but my experience with Warcraft has been always through a third party. Like, John played Warcraft 3 for me, so I can learn the lore for it. Because I never was a big PC gamer, so there was no way for me to actually...
Which is the only thing, PC is all I had.
Yeah, so it was just me and me watching John play Warcraft and from the beginning and seeing the beginning of the end for Arthas and And all the jokes that we, me and John and you, sometimes Gavin. Gavin wasn't really.
He was never into it.
No, he wasn't.
Or any MMOs or anything like that.
No, it wasn't his bag. Even that, it was just it kind of was another strand that kind of bound us together as friends. These little inside jokes that we toss around at each other. Us launching off into.
Like the Arthas canon.
Oh, yeah.
That was...
Yeah, that was... we just kind of joked around, when we were hypothesizing what the fight against Arthas was going to be like in World of Warcraft before the expansion was laid out. And we just said, well, what kind of loot would you get? And I was just bullshitting around, and I was just like, you get a gun, the Arthas cannon, and it's not
like when you defeat Arthas,
Yeah.
then that becomes like the weapon that you can get.
yeah, like it's a bind on carry little cannon that doesn't shoot bullets, it actually shoots an Arthas, and he just comes out like eyeball first, and then just and then as his little toe just gets free from the barrel, he just shoots off like a rocket.
Doesn't do anything in particular that was known for Arthas. Just hit people.
No,
Just hit people.
no, but it was one of the. I remember that joke specifically because it was one of the few times back then that I actually got you and John to laugh at the exact same time. Because believe it or not, I was not always this gut-bustingly hysterical. I was actually
You were very quiet, and then you had your moments.
yeah, like it wasn't even really precision strike jokes or anything like that. It was just like, well, do I say it or the time's passed. Stupid Ben, it's stupid. But so like I did my time with WoW. I got maybe about I did like 5 months of Burning Crusade and was like, you know what, I can stop.
Yeah.
I can just stop. In fact, I think it was around that time that I actually started making videos for the internet.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was that and Guitar Hero 2 came out.
And that was about the time that I kept playing World of Warcraft.
At that time, I found a new obsession. It was like I just practiced Guitar Hero so much.
Yeah.
Actually, I remember for a while, I played that game so much that my hand literally got into a claw, and so like I had to. What I would do is that I would hold like something tubular in my hand, so that way it wouldn't seize up like a claw.
Wow, the things you have to do for the craft.
Mm-hmm.
It's about the art.
It's about the art of playing a plastic instrument. But yeah, so like we're coming from a period of like our lives are tied to this franchise, and even though like we are familiar with the lore, very familiar with the lore, not as much as John. John was just like like he was the only guy I know of who actually read all the lore that was inside World of Warcraft.
Yeah.
And he wouldn't exactly transcribe them, but he would actually read them.
Probably read all the fanfic too.
I wouldn't say he went that far, but he was, he was dedicated. Like he was a hyper fan of this, of Warcraft. I'm not sure what his feelings are about. I'm not sure what his feelings are about the franchise right now because it's been a good long time since I've actually talked to the man. But
I would guess that he likely still plays it at least casually, or once in a while because. I remember he was still playing when the
Pandarans, when the Pandarans came out.
I believe he was still playing then.
So wow, I mean, like the Pandarans came out and you just like, that's it, I'm done. Like Pandas was the straw that broke the camel's back for you.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of which, I'm on Twitter now.
Here's his handle right here, just in case if you want to follow him.
Yeah.
All right, but. Yeah, so like, this movie has been hyped. It has been hyped for the fans for, I want to say since the South Park episode came out. The South Park.
Yeah, I was hyped about the movie long before the South Park episode. I was always imagining what the movie could be like, how they would do it and everything, and how they would not make it like Lord of the Rings and not make it a ripoff.
Well. We'll touch upon Lord of the Rings in a little bit when I have a theory about the making of this movie. But if you want to know what our thoughts are on this movie, I'll put it to you like this. Once upon a time, Uwe Boll approached Blizzard about making a Warcraft movie. Blizzard told Uwe Boll, it's like, we are only thinking about making a movie, but if we do make this movie, we're not going to hire you. After having sat through this movie, I kind of wish they did.
Yeah.
Not because
it would be as a film, it wouldn't be a better film. It's because it would be a worse film.
It would be a better film for our purposes.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, here's like
our dastardly purposes.
Like again, I keep hyping on this reptilian part of my brain that likes it when things are so awful that you can't believe what you're seeing.
Yes.
But that's not. But that's not to say that.
That's not the case here.
But that's certainly not the case. This is I won't say the worst kind of bad. It's bad in a way that is uninteresting.
It's not going to be remembered.
No, I think people will remember it just for how disappointed they were. It's bad in all the ways that can make a movie suck the life out of its audience, because it's giving exactly what the audience thinks it wants. It wants, named characters from the games, playing out the story that they see and they play in the games. And part and parcel of this movie is Warcraft, the first game. If you go into the movie thinking that you're going to see Arthas, or you're going to see if you're going to see Sylvanas or any of the Night Elf characters that you experience with.
No, this is humans, orcs.
Yeah, Warcraft 3. No, I'm not even Warcraft 2. Like, I wouldn't. It was
no, even Warcraft 2. No night elves. No
night elves.
No like dwarves or anything. I don't think either. Maybe dwarves.
There was a scene or two of a dwarf,
but it was like there weren't like different races. It was just like there was the human side. There was the orc side.
And then there's like cameos from other races. Just and like knowing full well, but that's not really that's only a slight problem with the movie, is that when you see Draenei are in this game.
Draenei. I used to call them Draenei and Draenei.
Draenei. Yeah, Draenei. Like, Draenei are in the movie in the beginning. Mm-hmm. Just right at the beginning of the movie. And I'm thinking, okay, so I'm trying to put, like, where is this movie supposed to be taking place? And I'm thinking it's taking place around Warcraft.
There certainly were no Draenei in the first Warcraft.
Yeah. So, like,
I don't believe that they wrote Draenei into the lore until, like, Warcraft 3.
Or not even Warcraft 3.
Or even World of Warcraft, actually.
Yeah, like, it was like Burning Crusade.
Yeah, that's right. Burning Crusade is where they made the new Draenei. Because, I mean, if you were playing the vanilla Warcraft World of Warcraft back in the day, you remember that Draenei were, so far as the lore had been written in that game, just the, like, or at least as they put it in the game, just these, like, little Yoda, melted Yoda men or something. They were just... Do you remember that?
I don't really remember that.
That's what Draenei were. They were very rare in the game. There weren't very many of them. But the ones that were, they were like these little deformed guys that were just, like, completely pathetic looking.
My recollection is failing me.
Well, it turned out those were like another offshoot of the Draenei. I can't remember the lore. It's like they were like corrupted or something.
There was the demons. There were the demonic possessed ones.
Oh yes, the
not Kel'Thuzad. That was
they were called the.
Man. We just went on like a 10-minute spiel about how much it affected our lives.
I used to know this. I used to know. The Eridar. The Eridar.
Yeah. But back to the movie. I saw them and I'm thinking, okay, this is kind of throwing a wrench into what I was expecting this movie to be. And then I hear Lothar and I'm thinking, okay, Warcraft 1. It's like, so there's not going to be King Anduin Wrynn, there's not going to be... All right. I can start to judge it. But then they're starting like characters that didn't exist at all. Like, it's like
the thing is,
correct me if I'm wrong.
But
correct me if I'm wrong. But the half orc never existed in Morgan. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Not Gamora.
Not Gamora. But correct me if I'm wrong. Because I can't.
Actually, I think she's in the lore.
She's in the lore, but her existence is so...
It wasn't in the games. Like, it wasn't in, like, Warcraft 1. I'm pretty sure it wasn't in 1, 2, or 3. I think it's one of those things where Blizzard was like, oh, people love these games. Let's make more lore to attach to all those things. It wasn't there, right? Mm-hmm. I believe she was just one of those, like, kind of... slightly like fan servicey kind of characters. So it was kind of because Mary Sue-esque maybe, or
because her existence doesn't make any sense. She's a half orc.
It was like let's have like this sexy orc that has slightly more like human, or maybe it was half Draenei, or they didn't really make it clear if she was half human or half Draenei.
Yeah, but that's the thing, because like she can't be half Draenei. She has no horns. She has the tusks.
I was doing a little reading about this because of the movie, I think, or something. But apparently, like half Draenei creatures would like when it was Orc and Draenei or something, they wouldn't actually have the horns. They would just have a very, very slight features, like maybe the eyes or something else.
Yeah. Of all the things this movie goes into for the dumb audience, they don't
Yeah.
go into like you're half orc. What other half are you?
Yeah.
Certainly not humans because the orcs haven't encountered the humans yet. So
Honestly, at some point, I think they have the characters now that are like half Draenei, half human, and half orc, and they're just like the sexiest thing you could ever think of.
and, you know, you need to throw in some night elf in there just to.
Yeah, a little bit of night elf for the height, maybe.
Yeah. Also, weirdly enough, there are some night elves in the background, but no high elves. Mm-hmm. Which is
No high elves. That's weird because
There's
this is
no
Warcraft 1, and
yeah. There's no high elves.
This is before the split,
yeah.
the schism or whatever.
Yeah, so like, weren't night elves? They weren't even introduced until Warcraft 3, right?
Yeah, Warcraft 3 was when they were introduced.
Yeah, so automatically there's a huge wrench. Like those are.
I was really surprised that they did not have high elves because if I understand correctly, until the rebellion or whatever, or where the humans just started hating on the high elves or blood elves as they're called now. Because they're bloods, but there were high elves and humans were just completely together. That's why you have a high elf like mages and magi and high elf priests and stuff. Where were the high elves in this? Were the high elves like not working with them during the events of Warcraft 1 and we just forgot because we didn't play the game? Or
no, I know for a fact the night elves weren't even in the picture, and yet
like
they are. So like it's like they're cherry picking this lore.
It's like they want to make people happy. I think they know that there's gonna be people who like just started playing World of Warcraft like maybe 3 years ago or less, and it's like I came in to play Warcraft and I like the elves, and it's like I watched the movie and I know everything about Warcraft because I've been playing for 2 years.
Well, if that were the case,
where were the night elves?
If that were the case, then why the hell did they try to set this movie during the time period of Warcraft 1? Like if they were trying to appease the World of Warcraft audience,
yeah,
then they would have set the movie at least at the beginning of Vanilla WoW.
You could argue this because they wanted to, just make a lot of movies. But then again, why couldn't they just start with one that's more recent and then do like a prequel?
Yeah,
which is very common.
You could make the sequels the expansion packs if you wanted to. You could make the Burning Crusade the sequel to the first movie. You could there were so many. If you were worried about a movie franchise, there were way better ways of introducing the audience than than giving this hodgepodge, mixed up completely. Like fans are going to get pissed off because like casual fans don't care. Certainly don't care that night elves are part of
casual fans. It's kind of like, I got in. Someone so and so got me into playing it, and I chose an undead, and I would really like to see an undead in the movie because that's the character I play.
Yeah,
and that'd be cool.
Yeah, but
that's what casual, that's a casual thing.
Yeah, but this movie, bafflingly enough, is obviously made by a hyperfan. Like the same guy who directed Moon. His name escapes me. I think, he's David Bowie's son. Yeah,
who
directed Moon and also directed this.
Really?
Yeah, his name escapes me.
And he's a avid Warcraft fan?
Obviously. Because only a Warcraft fan would bother to go into such excruciating details about the lore, not lore, but just like the world of the movie.
I guess so. I would like to think that an avid Warcraft fan would want it to be a good movie, though.
Yeah, but this is where the schism, as you brought up, this is where the schism happens between fan and professional. Like a fan wants what he wants in this movie because he grew up or he experienced, I don't know how old the guy is, so I'm not sure if he played Warcraft in his more formative years or if he just picked it up when he was in college. But he obviously loved the source material, and because he loved that source material, he wanted the representation of that source material, regardless if it actually made sense in the movie's context. And it's important. It was more important for him that Khadgar was in this movie, and fucking and Medivh was in this movie, despite I think them living at two completely different sets of time. I believe Khadgar lived way before Medivh. I could be wrong. Like I said, it's been a long time since I brushed up on the.
Well, Medivh, I doubt that he did, because Medivh is just like this timeless entity of a man.
Yeah.
Like, he's been around for, I think, just...
Yeah, you wouldn't
He's
guess.
kind of a Gandalf.
Yeah, yeah. Even though you wouldn't guess it, because Medivh in this movie is being played by by Ben something rather.
Ben Kingsley.
No,
I'm kidding.
Not Ben Whishaw either. I tried to make it a point to memorize this guy's name, but he was on a bunch. He was in good movies. Like, I liked him in The Messenger. He was he was great in The Messenger. Not the Joan of Arc Messenger.
Mila Jovovich.
Not that Messenger. It was a movie with Woody Harrelson in it and him, and he was great in that movie. But excuse me.
He was okay in this.
Yeah, like, he was obviously trying his best to be like a wizened mage, but he just doesn't, like, they did not make him look old. Like, he looks. Everyone in this movie looks disturbingly young, to the point that it kind of becomes funny when characters are talking with each other. Like, Lothar, the guy who plays Lothar is, he sees his son getting killed, and his son looks like 10 years younger than him.
Yeah, it's
like
pretty funny.
Yeah, it's... I mean, is it just me, or is it just actors today are just eternally young, therefore they can't play old?
Part of it's, it might have been the CG.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not an excuse. I'm not saying that's an excuse, but I'm wondering if the CG had a part to play in the... I don't know.
No, I really don't. I think it's just like...
I think that they should have just really liked the game where they only had so many faces to distribute, and you would end up seeing people over and over again.
No, that's...
Then they make a joke to make it okay.
Like,
oh yes, we all have the same genes because of... I don't know.
No. But trying to recount the plot of this movie feels almost perfunctory, because it's just like...
Yeah.
I mean, if you have any working knowledge of the games, you just know that orcs, humans, they don't get along. And the setup is just that...
So there's brown orcs.
there's
and then there's green orcs, and the red orcs aren't there yet.
Not yet.
Because brown orcs are they're you could say they're evil. They're not really evil. They're just kind of like tribal. You know, they're vicious. They're savage. But the green orcs they're a little bit evil. They're fell.
They're fell.
Even though they're not actually fell orcs. Fell orcs are the red ones.
Yeah, I can't believe they actually name dropped that's fell, even though fell orcs are completely opposite. But I'm blanking on the orc shaman, the orc warlock's name.
Gul'dan.
Yeah, Gul'dan.
So that's a big character in Warcraft. That's a huge character.
Gul'dan, like, he opens the gates in Draenor to
Am I correct that he's not the first warlock? I believe Ner'zhul was the first warlock.
I believe so.
Because he became the one who became the Lich King.
Mm-hmm. So yeah.
So I guess Gul'dan's somewhere down the line of
somewhere, but Gul'dan seemingly opens the portals in Draenor, and they invade Azeroth, and the orcs invade Azeroth because Draenor is dying, and that's because they killed off Draenor and took it from the Draenei. Even though the movie doesn't go into it, because this movie's jam packed enough already. They didn't need to. First of all, if you're going to put like a race and not actually like do anything with them, don't put them in your movie. I know that's strike number one. Like for people who are sitting in the audience and they look at these, the Draenei, and they're thinking, who the Draenei? I always say Draenei.
I'm pretty sure it's Draenei.
Draenei. Like, all right. But they see this race and they're thinking, like, are they other orcs? But no, they got horns and they're blue. That doesn't make any sense. And then all of a sudden they're dead. And like, are they another race? Especially in a weird movie where the very first thing is just a big gigantic green monster and his wife.
Yeah.
Like, the audience just has no footing in this movie. It has just no footing to really make an opinion about this, to actually invest themselves into this movie.
Oh, and further on the name, I understand why it's like, and why all of us said Draenie at first because I believe it's spelled Draenie,
Something like NEI or something like
or EI.
DRANEI, something like that.
It's like you want to say Draenie, but I'm pretty sure it's Draenei. Been a while, so we might either of us could be in it wrong.
Yeah, good.
They don't mention in the movie, that's for sure.
Oh yeah, so they invade Azeroth. Not sure where in Azeroth, because that's strike number 2.
Mm-hmm.
For I have no if you know World of Warcraft, you know that the portal is out in Kalimdor. Mm-hmm. It's right below thousand.
It's in the Blasted Lands.
It's in the Blasted Lands, right? Blasted Lands, about a good distance away from Orgrimmar. And I believe we by the end of the movie to see like the beginnings of Orgrimmar.
Oh my god!
I
You're right. No, you're right. I don't know about the Orgrimmar, but I know that the Dark Portal came out in the Eastern Kingdoms in this movie, didn't it?
Yeah, it had to because they literally just go from on horseback all the way to where they're building the portal in.
Yeah.
But that doesn't
was it Elwyn Forest, literally?
It looked like it was. They didn't. The passage of time is non-existent in this movie. It could be just a day's ride away from Stormwind,
Yeah.
or it could very well easily be on Kalimdor. But it doesn't matter because like the Eastern Kingdom, and
they don't even mention like Eastern Kingdom or Kalimdor in this movie.
Yeah,
they just say Azeroth.
Yeah, and they even point to like a map that's on painted like the Sistine Chapel at the top of the kingdom. The top of the castle rather, and the continents don't look anything alike. It's like it looks like there isn't any two separated.
And we know that it's not like the continental shelf changed from Warcraft 1 to 3. There was always the maelstrom between the two.
Yeah,
that didn't just happen during the time. It was there for a long time.
Like I said, there's just so much like they decided to keep true to the games, and so much they didn't decide to.
Yeah.
And what they kept served no real strong narrative purpose for the movie. It just felt like it was like, well, it's a Warcraft movie, it needs to be there. And the things they kept out were like, well, if we don't put this in, people who actually know what the games are about are going to question whether or not, like, are you telling me like the king literally rode on horseback all the way, and crossed the sea, crossed the maelstrom to get to Kalimdor, to get to the...
Yeah, he probably put it on, auto follow or something and just went off and baked a pizza. Anyway. There was a few moments in this movie where they have you watch somebody on a griffin.
Yeah.
And thankfully they weren't too long. I was worried for a while there. I was like, oh my god, is this going to be a huge, like, scenic thing to try to, make you think about all the times you've been on a griffin? Because, I mean, really, we don't need that. We didn't need it in the games too much. Honestly, there's a little bit of charm to that part of the games of actually traveling.
Yeah.
And not the way things probably are done in World of Warcraft now or any other game, which is fast travel things. Just like, boop, boop. Yeah. I don't want to, life is too fast. Don't want to sit here and watch this. Just want to get to the raids. Just want to... You kind of you lose a lot of the charm from that, but I understand.
But as soon as they land in Azeroth, fucked up geography aside, as soon as they land in Azeroth, Durotar, that's the orc, Durotar. Durotar's wife, gives birth to what I originally thought was that a half Draenei baby? Because it's blue. But
that's what I was waiting to get to that because I really wanted to see what your opinion was on that.
Like, it's like, why is it blue? It's like, well,
yeah, I figured that has to be a half Draenei.
I guess, but and if that were the case, then why wasn't why is half orc lady not blue?
Because she's not blue because you see what Gul'dan did to the baby. Turned it green.
Breathed life into him.
And turned it green.
It turned it green, yeah.
Same thing he did to her. She was probably blue too, and he did that to her.
So you're telling me that in this movie's universe, she is the equivalent of the white woman who turned herself black?
Ooh.
Ooh. Oh, honey, I did go there. But yeah,
I think that he didn't want them to know that it was half Draenei, and that's why part of why he did. Well, he does that to them to make them into the fell orcs, as it were, the normal orcs.
I have no idea. Like, it could be just very well be that he used necromancy to revive the baby, because the baby was dead.
But it turned green. Yeah, but notice how there's brown orcs and then there's green orcs.
Yeah, but there's also, excuse me, sorry, but there wasn't really a clear delineation between brown orcs and green orcs as far as like as far as loyalty seems to be it didn't seem like the green orcs had any special special loyalty to Gul'dan.
No.
And so like
it was very confusing.
Yeah, like it just felt like it was.
And I can't remember the lore.
Yeah.
I can't remember the actual lore of exactly how they were turned green, if it really was Gul'dan doing that shit with the fell magic, but I mean, because I know they weren't called fell orcs until they were red, and when they drank from the the guy on all fours.
Oh, yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Not Varamathras, but the other guy, the Pit Fiend, or sorry, the Pit Fiend. Pit Fiend. That's D&D. It's Pit.
I think we're going to have to let this one go. Otherwise, we're just going to be here for 3 hours. But yeah, the confused decisions like that, and decisions like that are just like not part and parcel. It really goes to the meat of what this movie's problem is. It's like I can't for the life of me just figure out why
Pit Lord. Mm-hmm. Sorry.
Yep. But I can't for the life of me figure out why they went the way they did. Because everything they chose just didn't work. Strictly speaking from an audience perspective, like trying to get your audience invested into it. Because like if you're gonna go for like full on this movie's only for the fans. Fuck the general audience. Yeah. If that were true, then they would not have fucked up the geography so much. They wouldn't have fucked up. They wouldn't have gone the way they did as far as the story is concerned. But circling back, if they were going for the general audience feel, then they wouldn't even bother trying to juggle 20 different characters. They would have the hero be Lothar. They wouldn't even have anything to do with a fucking Khadgar. Yeah. Khadgar would just be out. Like it would just be like have Khadgar and Lothar be the same person.
Yeah, but Khadgar was really like the Sorcerer's Apprentice kind of character in this.
Yeah, and if that were the case, like you get rid of Lothar and have Khadgar be the hero.
And if Khadgar weren't such an important part of lore, they would have made him just this complete comedy relief character in this movie.
Yeah.
But they couldn't do that because the lore, he's a badass motherfucker, I guess.
Because there's so much like this movie is so dense is so dense, not with story or plot, but just things happening. Like because there are so many characters involved in this invasion that's coming. You're just left with, okay, all right, he's that guy and he's doing that, but then there's these guys and they're doing that, and then you realize that all of this plot really circles around is the fact that the Fell is the true bad guy. It's like, okay, well, why couldn't we focus on that? So then it wouldn't be Warcraft. It's like, okay, it's such an erratic movie in that case. It wants to focus on this war, but the war is just, you find out by the end of the movie that the war is just this manufacturer of Fel. Like the Fel is just influencing Medivh, who is the real one who brought the orcs to Azeroth, and it turns out Gul'dan is just a puppet, and he doesn't even realize that. Gul'dan is Gul'dan is just like he doesn't even know. He doesn't even fucking know that he's that he's just being played for a fool. And I gotta figure that what's the point? What's the point of what's the point of the deception? The Fel doesn't care at all. The Fel doesn't care. Like I say fell like it is a sentient being, and for this movie's purposes, it sort of is. But the fell is just like, well, I want to spread further.
Well, the fell would be started with Sargeras, the betrayer.
Yeah,
The fell is of him.
Yeah, is of him, but Sarger, like if
But he's not a figure in this movie.
But he's not a figure in this movie, and if you want to make Fell the real bad guy, have Sargeras in the movie.
Yeah, I mean, of course, according to Warcraft 1, blah, blah, fucking blah, etc. lore, he wouldn't have appeared at this, but they could have had, like, a kind of, I hate to say, the Hobbit-esque kind of version of Sauron, but just like a very, very minimal, like, alluding to Sargeras.
Yeah, because the way this movie portrays Fell, it just feels like this self-perpetuating natural force, and it's not. It's demon. They say the word demon, and they do mean a demon. In fact, I think Medivh turns into a Fell beast.
Yeah, he turns into I guess a lot like what happened to Illidan.
Yeah.
And what the warlocks could turn into when they reached like level 60 or something back in the
but
demonic form. But they could have had Sargeras, like a dream sequence where Medivh is being attacked by the Fell magic. They could have had like a dream sequence kind of thing where it's like the voice of Sargeras is speaking to you,
and that's what I wanted to talk about as far as Lord of the Rings. What Lord of the Rings gets right, as far as taking a well-established lore with compendiums and indices of minute details of just the most insignificant details, but where those movies got it right was that they knew what makes a movie work. And what makes a movie work is that if you're going to have this little object that has all these evil powers, you need to give it more of a personality and presence in a story than just this evil magic. For a fact, you see Sauron in the movie. Mm-hmm. You see Sauron forge.
The first thing you see is fucking Sauron forging the ring. Pretty much.
You know that it's an extension of his will, and you know that he is trapped in around Mount Doom, and he's trying to get his power back. There is clear and concise motivation for the villain, and he's always a presence in the movie because of the One Ring. Now, whereas this movie, The Fell, kind of takes the what's the word I'm looking? It takes the place of the ring in that it's Sargeras's will. Mm-hmm. He is trying to spread himself out throughout the worlds that exist in this universe.
Yes,
and apparently he is able to communicate not only to have his place here in Azeroth, but also in Draenor. Figure that one out. But that's how he acted through Medivh to open the portal to from Draenor to Azeroth. But apparently he could do that. All right, I'm fine. Great primal evil power. I can get that. But establish him. Mm-hmm. Establish him in the movie. I know that there's a lot of things in this movie that could have gone without. There's very few things I would add to this movie to fix. But first and foremost, Sargeras needs to be this movie. There needs to be the audience needs to know who is the main bad guy.
Yes. Yeah.
And when you find out that, or when I always trip over the orc's name, Gul'dan. Yeah, Gul'dan. And when the audience thinks Gul'dan is the villain, and then you find out nah, he's just a puppet, and not even and he has no. It's not like you can even believe he's not acting on his own will.
Yeah.
And it just seems like
it seems weird. Like Gul'dan was, if I recall, he was like a pretty smart.
Yeah, like he was
he was a puppet master. Yeah. He wasn't just a brute.
He didn't look like that picture of J.K. Simmons getting jacked for his role in Justice League.
He didn't look like frickin' Mugatu when he tells us that prison changed him.
He doesn't look like Master Roshi when he was about to charge up the Kamehameha wave.
Yeah, seriously, Gul'dan's just kind of hunched over. It's like, I guess it's just a deception, because he rips his robe off and he stands tall. And he's like, "Come at me, bro! I'm fucking jacked." And then the other guy, fucking, what's his name?
I said his
I
nim.
can't remember now.
Yeah, like there's like 1.5 billion characters. in this
And
movie.
the other, they do the main,
The main orc hero.
Yeah. Then he hulks out too.
And they just have a punch off for like, and that's their climax in the movie.
so much CG beef.
I mean, well, I didn't mind the CG in this movie. I mean, like like
It's really hard to understand them though, the orcs.
yeah,
Because they're go down. Let's do the talk. What the fuck?
yeah. Like I want to impart that this movie looks good. This movie looks good and is directed well. And the performances, as much as they're straining against this purely expository,
They're not horrible.
Yeah.
Not like you'd expect them to be. Not like I was expecting Dungeons and Dragons level of horrible.
yeah, but like as far as this like a purely expository script, pretty much every line of dialogue in the script is something about like we need to go here. Now we need to go here. Now we need to go here.
And now we need to have romance.
Yeah, it's like now I need to have character development.
Yeah. The character development was just really.
Yeah, like really, it's like
It was really just forced.
it felt like a program wrote this.
Yeah.
Wrote this. There's almost no personality in the script whatsoever. But
Oh, and there is no sex scene. There's no sex scene. There's an implication of such. But they kept it very like, okay, guys, we don't want you to be doing ERP and WoW. Stop it. We're not going to have any sex scenes because we don't want you doing that. Even though that sells so much of our games.
Mm-hmm. I mean, there is a reason why we made the Night Elves look so good, and then wrote it into the lore that 90% of the population of Night Elves are female. It's like, no shit.
Let's not even get to the Draenei with freaking resting a cup of water on their ass.
I can't be angry. Not about that, at least, because like I do like the WoW art. I do like WoW's art style.
And I did play quite a few Draenei.
So it's, you know what? I'm more pissed off with the little gags that they used to put in, like Harris Pilton. Remember the Harris Pilton?
Oh yes, I remember the Harris fucking Pilton pouch. It was like the 12 slot or something.
No, like there was also an NPC literally named Harris.
No,
Pilton.
I remember, and you got the quest for her was like to get her pouch or something, to get her actual 12 slot pouch.
But again, the script really fails the actors, but they're trying their best, and again the actor whose name I can't remember, Ben something rather, he is probably the one who has to work with the weakest script and yet has the best presence. He is not used nearly enough for my taste.
Oh,
Medivh.
Yeah.
The guy who played Medivh,
Yeah.
he had probably the worst lines to work with, and he had like such tacked on moments of character development.
At least
But he came away still having the best presence in the movie.
still better romantic scenes though than The Hobbit
Oh, well,
with the dwarf elf love. Still better than that though.
still better. Yeah, still. So like, now that if there is an accurate contrasting, accurate compare and contrasting to be made. It feels weird to say it, but this movie is more like The Hobbit in what it. But it feels like The Hobbit, but in reverse. Whereas The Hobbit had to stretch and stretch to get to three movies.
Was this better than The Hobbit?
I don't know. I mean, at least
I think you know what I'm going to say. I like this better than The Hobbit because I had. I don't know. I had way more expectations for The Hobbit.
yeah.
Even though I've been waiting for this movie for so long, I kind of just gave up at a certain point and didn't expect any movie to happen.
It's sort of like it's sort of like Duke Nukem Forever in that like we waited over a decade for this game and it'll never come. It is going to come and it kind of sucks. All right, fine.
I mean, the trailers definitely. It was like, okay, this is going to suck, and I think that the trailers for The Hobbit weren't quite so clear that it was going to suck.
No. Well, then again, the problems of The Hobbit weren't made clear in the trailer because the problems were just how much they had to stretch and add to this movie, and what they added was just bullshit. Yeah. Whereas this movie's problem is that it certainly had enough to make a feature length movie, but it just couldn't decide on what they needed to keep and what they needed to excise. And to tell a story, they weren't quite sure what they wanted to tell.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, whereas the Hobbit was stretched to the breaking point, this is tightly compacted and weirdly chosen, as opposed to the weirdly built. Like the plot progression in this movie is just, like, scene ends, scene, and then this happens, and then this happens, and then this happens. There's almost no through line to these scenes other than wars are coming.
Yep.
Wars are coming. And
you find yourself kind of wanting to just, all right, let's get back to action, dumb action.
Yeah, that's like,
because it's like you start to get interested in the conversations they're having. You start to get into it, and then you realize it's not really going to go anywhere. And then that's just being drawn out at a certain point, and then you say, okay, fine, let's just have more dumb orcs fighting humans.
Dumb orcs fighting humans.
Just dumb, stupid action.
Yeah.
Let's just, sure, why not?
That's actually kind of, you know what? It's weird for me to say this, but I do. This is one of the very first probably the first time in Sage Versus where I just looked at this movie just like, can we just have an action scene already?
Yeah. You and me both. That's what I'm saying.
Like, I've never had that. I've never had that decision. Like, I've never done that in my entire life. Not with Batman.
In your entire life?
Not an entire life, but like in the entirety of Sage Versus, I've been like through Batman v Superman.
Yeah.
I've been through fucking the. Actually, you know what? I tell a lie. The only other time I've ever had that thought is fucking Divergent. Because that's like, if I know how the actions.
Yeah, ain't that the truth? You want anything to happen.
I wanted anything to happen in that movie, even like the poorly choreographed fight scenes in that movie.
Yeah.
But here I wanted those to happen because I know that, like, the few times I've seen it, they look good and they look.
You know what? That's my thing about this movie. To sum it up for me, this felt a lot like. You remember the cinematics for, like, Warcraft 3 that you would have between the gameplay?
Yeah.
And then the cinematics they'd have for World of Warcraft as well, etc. Yeah. But that would depict epic scenes. This felt like Blizzard. It almost felt like just a really, really long cinematic for a game.
I could see that.
It really felt that way, and when you thought about it that way, it was a better experience. That's what I think. That's how I feel.
Yeah, but that's not to say that makes a movie, though.
I'm not saying that makes a movie, but
if
it makes it more enjoyable when you think of it that way.
In other words, it makes it more enjoyable when you lower your expectations.
Yeah, that is in a nutshell what I'm saying.
Yeah. Well, before I get to my final thoughts on the movie, the one thing I wanted to really comment on was, like, that. Going back to Lord of the Rings for just one last time, is like how that ending just seemed like it was piling on top of itself.
And then you had Aragorn Light as your main character.
Yeah, like Lothar.
Or at least the human side.
Yeah, Lothar. Yeah. So, but yeah, like, so the main orc hero is killed by Gul'dan, and the orcs are just like, you cheat, Gul'dan. You're not honorable. And then he just kills a bunch of.
I could not believe how much they put up with this motherfucker.
Yeah, Gul'dan just kills, just sucks the souls like Shang Tsung out of their bodies and saying, like, anyone else?
Because even he couldn't have taken on that many orcs.
Yeah, exactly.
No way.
And then there's okay, all right, whatever. And then the war happens. They managed to They kidnapped a bunch of human prisoners because they needed souls to fuel what they thought they needed to fuel the gate to Draenor. But turns out, again, it doesn't matter. It's Medivh. Medivh is the one who's under control of Fel, under control of Sargeras, is what's really powering that. So
I couldn't believe how fucking dumb Gul'dan was in this movie.
Yeah.
Man, that guy was a bonehead. Like, all he had was his raw Fel power. Without that, he was just a dumb brute, as smart as the next orc. Just as smart as the next orc. because he didn't figure out that he was a puppet of Medivh.
Mm-hmm.
He couldn't figure out that sticking to orc traditions was the way to get respect. He couldn't figure out that there were ways around those traditions to get done what he needed without just saying, "Kill him! I powerful, kill him." You know, there was plenty of ways around that, and he never used any. He had no sense of Machiavellian. You know, he was no Machiavellian prodigy.
No, he was just a big old tool in this movie, and this whole Medivh plot point just completely, like, why the prisoners are just a fucking waste of time.
Yeah.
Like, what's even the point of that? Ugh, whatever. But whatever. So they save the prisoners, but the portal's cut off because Medivh, who managed to, because of magic bullshit that Khadgar repeats this nonsense notion of light into darkness, darkness into light, and just magically bamps the fell away, and then turns.
Oh, and where was the light?
Yeah, I guess that was the yellow light. The yellow light banishes the green light. I guess that's the clearest explanation the movie gives us.
No, the blue light, you mean?
Oh, the blue. No, he flashed yellow right as he dispelled the
Oh,
foul.
did he?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he flashed yellow as he dispelled.
Okay, that's
But it had no. But there was no real.
The thing is, Magi don't have the light, though.
That's priest. Yeah, like that.
Yeah, he wasn't a priest, though.
He wasn't a priest. He was a mage. So,
Yeah, so
like,
how did he get the light?
he was not a paladin, and
He's not a paladin. He's not a priest.
he's a mage, and yet he was able to command the light. So,
Not that they ever mentioned the light in this.
yeah,
No one says for the light or shit. You know, the light is like a huge power. And it's not like it only came after the Fell in order to fight the Fell. It was around just as long or longer.
So,
Well, I guess just as long. I mean, but still.
but yeah, you know, yin and yang. But whatever.
Well, then there was that, like, from the dark comes the light, from the light comes the dark.
Yeah,
and-
like
So that's how that's right. That's why it was the light.
yeah, but
It's just,
again, like, if you know anything about the Warcraft lore, that's just going to piss you off because Khadgar's not a priest, nor is he a paladin. He's a mage.
yeah.
So fucking all right, fucking whatever. He magically got, you know, light powers. Fine, fuck it, whatever. He and then dispels the Fell, and then the portal shuts off, and leaving the king and his last legionnaires to fend off the orcs. And so, another bullshit turn.
Where were the healers in this movie, man? Healers.
You're
That's
letting
a huge part of Warcraft history.
you're letting your tanks die, healers. Pick up the slack.
There was no healer. They had no shamans on the orc side. Not that there were shaman units in Warcraft, but I believe that was just because they hadn't thought of it yet when they made the game. When they go back in the lore, I'm pretty sure there were shamans the whole time.
Shamans, no priests, no paladin.
Yeah, which is why they still had other races in this, even though Warcraft 1 may not have had any of those, because they were going by the lore, not exactly the game.
Yeah, but
So by the lore, where the hell are your healers?
where's the light?
Where's the priests? Where's the shamans on the orc side? Why are people getting offed and not being resurrected? Why did a guy lose his hand and not be able to get it healed?
Because, like, again, like,
They didn't want to have to go around the writing for figuring out why people wouldn't die.
Exactly, like, because as a movie that would leave a bunch of holes in your plot. Not that there isn't holes in the plot already, but it's.
I really wanted to see people camping graveyards.
But again, like,
stop it, Gul'dan.
Like the king, king just turns to half orc lady and just like, here, take this knife, kill me, so that way the orcs think that you were a double agent or something like that, and they'll it'll be great.
Oh, that was so stupid.
Yeah.
I guess that's what happened in the lore, maybe, but the way they did it in this was so dumb because the thing is that they had already lost, and the at this point it wasn't about can we kill the king, can we off their king. It was about who's going to off their king, and everyone knew that honor would go to Black Hand. Clancy Brown plays Black Hand, by the way.
Yeah.
Not that you can really tell until they get to the credits. But so it was just like, okay, so anybody else could have taken on the task of trying to kill him, but it was like, okay, let's leave it to Black Hand because that's what he wants. Yeah. So why is it that when Black Hand approaches the king to do the job, why is it that when she comes behind him and offs him,
Mm-hmm.
Why is it that it's like you stole my kill?
It's like Black Hand is like apparently Black Hand still has some honor left in him. I guess it's like honor is not for anyone in particular. It's for anyone who can claim it, and she claimed it. So even though
Well, I would be really suspicious because all this time she's been fighting for them supposedly, and then she waits till the very moment that she's no longer useful to off the king and take away the honor of Black Hand.
even though like she was seen clearly killing orcs in
Does
that
that
battle.
not seem suspicious?
Yeah.
Like,
The orcs are fucking dumbasses in this movie.
yeah.
And so like she's been getting like she's elevated to like chiefdom almost near automatically. Even Goldench is like, "Welcome back, my child. You are a full orc now."
It's like I was just about to walk. And this is not just Black Hand. This is Black Hand after he's been pumped up on Fell Magic, so he's gotten bigger and shit. And it's just that there's no contest.
yeah.
There's no contest. The king's going to die. Someone's going to kill him. It's him and like 3 other guys. Black Hand. He's no match for Black Hand. And then shick, I took your kill right as he's about to engage him.
Like
That's just not.
goddamn ninja, right?
Yeah, she ninja'd the loot, the experience.
Yeah. I get solo XP.
Or as Riddick says, you keep what you kill.
And you're thinking, okay, all right, this is going to be the end of the movie. But nope, in comes Lothar on a griffin, who's going to take, who's first, like, he comes in, cleans house, grabs the corpse of the king, and is about to fly off. But no, Black Hand grabs the griffin, puts him down, and instead of killing him, just has to have an honor thing, like honor battle with him, in which Lothar wins in 2 seconds.
The reason that I guess that doesn't make sense is because the battle, hadn't finished, right?
Yeah, well, I'm trying to think of it because he certainly didn't care about honor since he just kind of came in with his griffin killing orcs left and right.
That's
like
true.
like the battle was happening anyway, but then all of
Yeah.
a sudden Black Hand just like no, just wait. I'm gonna have an honor battle with him, and then he wins in 2 seconds flat and just fucking dives under him, cleaves through him, and
No,
then
the human king, or sorry, the
Lothar.
King, the Lothar.
Yeah, Lothar,
man.
yeah.
I'm so sorry. No.
But-
he just one shot, one punch, one punch clubs him pretty much.
Yeah, but he just and then stabs him in the back, and he's walking away with the corpse of the king. Like walking away, and then like Gul'dan again. It's like, no, kill him. It's like, no, he earned his, he earned the orcs' respect by winning an honor battle, and it's like, now you're gonna stand up to Gul'dan,
Even
That-
though you let him murder your chieftain.
even though like he cheated in his own honor battle and then killed three of your deserters.
3 other people who were deserting him. Yeah.
He's like, and
now
now
you're going to. Okay.
It's like that was such a fucked up pile of an ending.
Yeah.
Ugh. And it turned, and the last thing in the movie is just that the son of Duratar is picked up by humans. Okay, that's it. I couldn't pick up the kid's name, but I'm pretty sure he's an important figure. He's not like Thrall or something.
Yeah, he's not Thrall.
He's
I
not-
guess that this is where they are going to go on to Warcraft 2, maybe? I don't know.
They're setting up for a sequel, which I'm betting dollars to donuts ain't gonna happen.
Yeah.
Nobody.
This didn't get very good
Yeah,
reception.
yeah, like this, like I'm calling it. This movie is just gonna die.
Oh, Blizzard, why? You made us wait way longer than you said you were. And then you made it worse than you could have made it 10 years ago.
Who knows?
CG aside, anything aside. Like, and they were talking about live action. You could say this is live action in a way, but it's not. It's glazed over with CG the whole way that,
It's live action the same way Avatar was live action.
yeah.
Technically live action actors in that movie, but
Oh man, how about the hands in that one scene? There's this one scene where they kind of made a little mistake on the size of
Duratar?
Not Durotar, is that his name in this? Yeah. Yeah, they make a mistake on his hands. So it's just a scene where he's standing there talking to somebody and he goes, "Oh," it's like his hand is like
Oh, Blackhand. Oh, Blackhand. That
or
was.
was it Black?
Yeah.
Black Hand, and he's just kind of goes like, it's like, he's talking to say something. His hand is like 3 times the size of his. It's like twice the size of his head. Whoa! Holy shit! What happened, man?
They're like, well, remember?
No, not the one. No, it wasn't Black Hand. It wasn't Black Hand. It was another orc.
Well, like Blackhand, put his arm in Fellfire, and he was about to rot away. But then Duratar cut off the rot, and then he got his arm replaced with like Iron Claw or whatever.
Yeah, but this wasn't the claw. This was another scene with
I didn't notice this. I really didn't notice this scene that you're referring to.
Yeah, I think it was. I think it was Duratar's assistant, the bald guy with the beard thing. Yeah, well, they all had beards, so like the shaved head guy.
Yeah.
It was someone. It was towards the end of the movie, and he just kind of puts his hand up while he's talking, and it was huge. It was just epically huge, and you laughed.
I don't remember laughing. I really do not remember that at all.
Yeah, you laughed. You must have been laughing about something else.
I might have been.
But I thought you were talking about the hand. 'Cause
No,
it was huge.
no.
Yeah, they kind of made a mistake on the hand. It was huge. It seems really, really unimportant at this point.
Yeah.
Because we had to go into this. But,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
it
like
was pretty funny.
I mean, like, there's not
It's
nearly.
like, thanks for ruining the moment.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I laughed at something that you thought I laughed at, but I didn't.
It was pretty funny. Maybe if you ever have to see this again.
If I ever have to see this again, now I might have to
keep
rewatch
an eye
it.
out for that hand because it was huge.
My but my only final thoughts are this. It almost would have been better if it had been worse.
Yeah.
As it is, it's disappointing. It's really and truly disappointing.
Especially for people who played the game as long as I did.
Yeah, like this.
Large part of my life went to that game.
Truly disappointing. That's all I can really.
I mean, that alone is disappointing
Yeah.
that much of my life went to the game. But
Yeah, but like my opinion just distilled down to one single phrase, disappointing would definitely be it.
yeah,
But, well, what can you do at this point? But, till next time.